Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has been out for a full year. During that time, it's made a huge impact not only for Nintendo and the Switch, but also for the gaming industry as a whole. The game has, no pun intended, smashed several records, including becoming the best-selling fighting game of all time and winning several awards, including Best Fighting Game at this year's Game Awards. Even a year after release, Ultimate is still very much alive and well thanks to post-release content. With the 5th fighter in the Fighter's Pass still yet to be revealed, and the confirmation of even more DLC fighters beyond that, there's no doubt that the Smash hype is still real. While we're in the middle of this post-release Smash DLC period, I want to show off my personal top 5 picks of who I'd like to see make the cut as DLC on Ultimate's roster. The DLC fighters we've gotten so far are cool, but really none of them were characters on my personal wish list, so hopefully at least one of these characters can make it in as a fighter that I can truly be excited for. But before I dive into the list, I want to inform you all that as of this video, I'm pretty close to hitting 100 subscribers on the channel, and I'd really like to hit this number. So if you enjoy watching this video, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button to keep up with my content and help me hit this goal. It truly does mean a lot. With that being said, let's get into the top 5 characters I like to see as DLC fighters in Smash Ultimate.
5.
To start off the list, Paper Mario unfolds as my number 5 pick. 2 versions of Mario already exist on the roster in the form of Mario and Dr. Mario. However, despite Dr. Mario not being officially classified as an Echo Fighter of Mario, Doc is still designed to be a clone of Mario with a similar moveset and animations. Even though there are some stat differences, such as increased power and a couple of moves unique to him, he's still not super distinct from Mario. But bring Paper Mario into the picture, and suddenly this 3rd version of Mario would really stand out, as he wouldn't play anywhere near like the other Marios. As different as RPGs are to platformers, Paper Mario's differences would be immense thanks to his unique abilities and traits from the Paper Mario series. There's plenty of source material to draw from for his moveset, from the action commands and items used in battles for his special moves, to his trademark weapon of choice for his smash attacks, the hammer. Being made of paper, he would feel right at home with Mr. Game & Watch as the second 2-dimensional fighter on the lighter side in terms of weight. Not to mention the paper aesthetic itself, coupled with a design of Mario that's in a more cute style, make his appearance appealing yet distinct. While Smash fans can agree that the Mario series already has plenty of representatives, Paper Mario could still be an extremely refreshing, unique, and fun addition to the Mario lineup.
4.
Sora magically sneaks his way into the list in number 4. The Kingdom Hearts series is a series that I've been wanting to dive into for quite some time now. As someone who only owns Nintendo systems, I have yet to experience what the series is really like, other than a demo for Dream Drop Distance on 3DS. Despite not having much playtime with Kingdom Hearts under my belt, I've slowly garnered some level of interest for this character and seeing him in Smash. As a Disney fan, maybe it's because of the Disney elements featured in the series. Sora is a character that's always been in a weird situation when it comes to the likelihood of him joining the battle. Typically, Disney gets brought up in discussion from fans about the Smash development team getting the green light to add him. This is because Disney owns the rights to the character. But honestly, I don't see Disney as a restrictive company, and I feel that they will be open to the idea of Sora crossing over. The main reason I want to see Sora join Smash is purely because of how hype it would be. I want to see the internet completely break whenever everyone gets their first glimpse of Sora in the game. It would just be a sight to behold. He really is one of the handful of internet-breaking characters left that hasn't joined the fray. I often just sit back and watch reaction videos of the numerous fighter reveals in the Smash games from a number of people, and I can guarantee that the reactions and overall reception to Sora's reveal would truly be a special moment in gaming. Also, there are already 2 Square Enix characters as fighters in the cast, being Cloud and Hero. Sora would be extremely fitting for a 3rd Square rep. There is also the potential for some Disney content in the game. Regardless of the likelihood of seeing Mickey, Donald, and Goofy getting cameo appearances, it's still something to consider. And from what I've seen, Sora seems to be a pretty cool character, and I am well aware of his appeal. Also, I can't forget to mention the music from Kingdom Hearts getting added to this already massive library of music tracks, including this beautiful orchestral version of Hikari, aka Simple and Clean, that your ears are having the pleasure of hearing right now. Overall, Sora will be an immensely hyped DLC fighter like I just mentioned, and it will be super fun to watch everyone collectively lose their minds if he makes it in.
3,
The limbless hero, Rayman, snags the number 3 spot. Back in the Smash for 3DS and Wii U days, the Smash Bros. Fighter Ballot was around, which allowed players to vote for their favorite characters to be potential Smash fighters. Rayman was the very first character I voted for. I remember being really excited for Rayman possibly being playable in Smash. I also remember the extremely well done Rayman leak by Artsy Omni. As someone who 100% believed in the leak, I was kinda disappointed when I found out it wasn't real. But it was still cool to see how the leak was done by Artsy Omni himself, and this leak remains as one of the most convincing leaks ever made to date. Regardless, some years later, my interest in this character has mostly stayed intact. Rayman is already featured as a spirit in Ultimate, and was also featured as a trophy in Smash for Wii U. But I know for a fact that he can have an extremely seamless transition as a fighter. If you've played either Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This character's moveset in his home games feels like it came straight from Smash Bros., and as a platforming enthusiast, Rayman feels great to control and could feel equally as great in Smash. He's here in this spot on the list because when I played the demos of his most recent games, I felt that he was made to be featured in a platform fighter like Smash. Believe it or not, he actually is featured in a platform fighter called Brawlhalla. I never played Brawlhalla myself, but he looks extremely fun to play in that game, and that gets me excited about how he could play in Smash. I also appreciate the cartoony style he has going for him, which fits perfectly for Smash in my opinion. Simply put, he would blend immensely well in the Smash style, and I could totally see him being very fun to play in Smash's platform fighting space. Plus, would you want to see what a Rayman amiibo would look like since, he has no limbs? I sure as heck do.
2,
For the next rep in the Kid Icarus series and landing in number 2, I would love to see the goddess of nature, Viridi, join the battle as a DLC fighter. Now, I've wanted Viridi to join Smash since Smash 4, although I knew that if there was going to be a new Kid Icarus rep at Smash 4, Palutena absolutely made the most sense because she is definitely the most major character in the series besides Pit. And I was super excited for Palutena back then, but now I want Viridi to get a shot. Honestly, I would be excited for pretty much any new Kid Icarus rep. Kid Icarus Uprising is my favorite 3DS game of all time, so any of the characters that I like from that game, making it in as a fighter would be exciting. But Viridi's personally my favorite character in Uprising, so that's why she's my pick. Her bratty yet charming and vibrant personality really makes her stand out, and her voice actress Hinton Walsh, who is also the voice of Starfire from Teen Titans and Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time, does an excellent job with bringing the character to life. While she didn't return to voice Viridi in Ultimate, unfortunately, I dealt with the adjustment to her new voice actress. In terms of gameplay, she can fit extremely well as an Echo Fighter of Palutena since they both share similar attributes. Of course, I'll always prefer more originality in a fighter's moveset, but I'll gladly take an Echo Fighter if it means I get to play as my girl Viridi. One issue that arises, however, is that on the Reset Bomb Forest stage, Viridi is the one to trigger the Reset Bomb that causes the stage to transition. If she's on the main part of the stage, then how is the Reset Bomb going to be triggered if she's in the middle of fighting? Well, the Reset Bomb can still do its thing, but without Viridi in the background, or Alfonso could take her place. Problem solved! So yeah, Viridi could totally be playable, and I want it to happen. He may not have made the top 5, but I feel that he's still worth mentioning. The adventurous Captain Toad finds his way to be my honorable mention. So why am I bringing up Captain Toad? It's because of my immense curiosity of how he could be implemented as a fighter with a no-jump mechanic. Jumping is one of the most basic and common actions to perform in Smash, and in pretty much any game remotely like it. but in Super Mario 3D World and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, courses featuring Captain Toad in those games are designed with no jumping in mind, and I'm super curious to see how this would translate into Smash. Maybe Captain Toad would have to rely on certain tools to get himself going in the air, such as summoning a minecart with customizable rails for instance. He can also use turnips and the pickaxe from his own game for his more offensive specials. I think regular Toad could be cool as well, but he seems pretty loyal to Peach, doing his best to protect her as her neutral special counterattack. Besides, Captain Toad could bring more interesting things to the table with his no jump mechanic, something that's never been implemented in Smash before. Who knows, maybe this mechanic can work out, maybe it can't. I like to use Little Mac as an example because he has a design in Smash that is faithful to his traits, like what Captain Toad could have. Boxers are never in the air, so Little Mac has a strong ground game with a weak air game. However, many players believe that this design doesn't work well for Smash and are in favor of a complete rework for his gameplay as a fighter. Captain Toad may be in a similar scenario and this concept may have the potential to backfire, but this still doesn't mean that I don't want the developers to take a crack at it. Captain Toad could be a fighter with one of the most unique mechanics in all of Smash Bros., with a moveset making up for his lack of jumping skills. I think it would be super interesting to see him venture out on the battlefield with a mechanic like that in mind.
1.
I mentioned the new rep I wanted for the Kid Icarus series earlier, but do you know what series really deserves a new rep? Kirby. And do you know what character really deserves to join Smash as the new Kirby rep? That's right. The number one character I want in Smash Ultimate as a DLC fighter is none other than Bandana Waddle Dee. Now you're in one of two groups. Either you know exactly why this character should be in, or you have no idea what the big deal is about this character and why so many people, including myself, want him. So the latter group, allow me to enlighten you. I am a huge Kirby fan. The Kirby series is one of my favorite series in all of gaming. The games are super enjoyable and I'm very passionate about the series. There hasn't been a new Kirby representative as a fighter in Smash since Brawl, which, may I remind you, was released over a decade ago. I believe that Kirby has a pedigree notable enough to deserve more than just 3 reps, especially since the last time new reps were added was over 10 years ago. When Bandana Waddle Dee first hit the scene, he was a pretty minor character. He first appeared in Kirby Superstar in the Megaton Punch minigame as one of Kirby's opponents. But come Kirby's Return to Dreamland, he gets his first major role as the 4th member of Kirby's squad, with the other 3 members already playable in Smash. Since then, he has become a mainstay in the Kirby series and has been featured prominently in future titles, promotional material, and media. Even in the most recent title in the series, Kirby Star Allies, multiple characters from across the series' history were able to join Kirby on his latest adventure as Dream Friends. Updates were released periodically that added more characters to the Dream Friends roster, but there are 3 characters included as Dream Friends in the base game. And guess who those characters were? King Dedede, Meta Knight, and you guessed it, Bandana Waddle Dee. He was part of the very first group to join the latest Kirby game, which is a big statement to his prominence as a character, and it shows that, to this day, he is very much a relevant character. For his moveset, it's already been made for him in the games he's been playable in, though I want to give a special shout out to Super Smash Flash 2 for how Bandana Waddle Dee plays there. He's super fun to play in this well done fan-made Smash game, and if he plays similar to his Smash Flash 2 self in Ultimate, I'll be in for a fun time. The Kirby series is in desperate need of fresh, new representation on the roster, and some might suggest for another character in the series to be the next rep. The thing is that those other characters are mainly one-off characters, meaning that they play a significant role in just one game. As much as I'd like to have Suzy from my favorite Kirby game of all time, Planet Robobot, make it in, it makes more sense for Bandana Waddle Dee to be the ultimate choice for Kirby, because he has become more of a mainstay character than the others, which boosts his significance as a character overall. So I'd say with total certainty that Bandana Waddle Dee more than deserves his spot on the roster. If a Piranha Plant of all things can make it in as a fighter, then so can Bandana Waddle Dee. Bandana Dee gang, rise up! Hashtag Bandana Dee for Smash. And those are the top 5 characters I want as DLC fighters in Smash Ultimate. Let me know what characters you'd like to see make the cut for Smash Ultimate DLC, and why in the comments. Are there characters that you also want that I mentioned in the video? Do you disagree with the picks that I made? I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed the video and I made your day at least a little bit better, consider subscribing to the channel for additional content on Smash, other things gaming, and more. If I did a good job with the content, be sure to give the video a like and ring the bell to get notified of my weekly uploads. Finally, be sure to follow me on social media such as Twitter for updates, news, and other topics, Instagram for content outside of the channel, and Twitch for live streams. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it. Take care, have a happy and blessed new year and decade, and I'll see you when Banana Waddle Dee gets in Smash.